All right, good evening. It's 6 o'clock on March 28, 2023. The session of the Select Board is called to order. I want to note that this meeting is being offered remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. If anybody's recording the meeting, please notify me at this time. Seeing none, I'm going to know for the record participating in tonight's meeting are myself, William Ramsey, Chair, Board Member Elizabeth Klein, and Board Member Joseph Fisher. So item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I believe that we have one set of minutes for consideration this evening. Liz, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
Joe?
I am ready to proceed.
All right, then I would take a motion.
I move to approve the minutes dated March 23rd, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor, Joe?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. The motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to nominate Leslie Badger as the Inspector of Animals for the town of Hingham. We are joined this evening by Officer Badger. So Leslie, good evening to you.
Good evening. How are you all doing?
We're doing great.
Thanks.
We're doing great. Good to see you as always.
Yes.
You want to just talk us this agenda item?
Sure. So as the animal inspector in the town of Hingham, I have been doing it for the last 15 years. And what is expected of me is to handle all barn inspection, kennel inspections, and quarantines regarding to dog bites or a sick infected animal. That could be rabies or a disease that can either be spread to others or whether it's animals or humans. So those are all the things as an animal inspector I'm in charge of.
Just out of curiosity, what is the, I guess, the job description or definition between the ACO and the ACO, Animal Control Officer, and Animal Inspection Officer?
The best way, the quickest way to describe it, animal control is more action-packed, where the calls come in, I go, I handle those situations. An animal inspector is more calm, going in, making sure that animals are being in their habitats or their, if it's a barnyard or a kennel, are being kept up. And then again, if we have a situation where there's an outbreak, where we've had in the past, we've had an outbreak at a barn, or if we have an animal that might have tested positive for rabies, I make sure that we have that under control. And if there's any need to let the public know and how to handle it and keep everyone safe.
Excellent. And Leslie, how long have you been doing this role for the town? It's been 6, 7 years?
Actually, no, February 4th was 15 years.
15, that's awesome. That is great.
Thank you.
Well, you know, Leslie, we very much appreciate all that you do for the town and all you do for us. I can't tell you how well liked you are in town, and I know that you respond to residents' questions and concerns really on a 24-hour basis, and lucky to have you doing what you do. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let me see if my colleagues have any questions or comments. Joe?
I do, and
Joe.
oh, I'm not muted. Has the town accepted the statute under which this nomination is being made?
As far as I'm aware, I believe so. But it is run, the animal inspector position is overseen by the state of Massachusetts. So it is a yearly thing, regardless that the state requires.
And do you have any coordination with the Board of Health?
Yes, so I do work with Board of Health, especially when it involves the barns or any kind of disease situation, whether it's rabies or some kind of situation where we might have an outbreak because of an animal.
Okay, so I don't mean to question this, but the statute says, this is section 15, it says in a town which has a Board of Health and accepts this paragraph, the nomination of the inspector should be made by the Board of Health and not by the selectman or town manager. So do we know if we have the authority to make this nomination?
As far as I know, the last 15 years, a nomination has always been done by the selectmen.
Joe, I could talk to John in the morning and have Carol hunt down any potential acceptance of laws. But in the meantime, I would recommend you all vote tonight. And if the Board of Health needs to vote this, then we'll do that. It can't hurt to have your vote, put it that way.
I agree. So I just want to make sure that we cover our bases and do.
Will do.
Yep. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no one more qualified or better qualified than the current nominee. So I am fully in support of this.
Thank you, Joe.
Liz, do you have any questions or comments for Leslie?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Joe. Thanks, Bill. I fully support this nomination. Officer Badger does a fabulous job. Just curious, how much time do you spend in this role as inspector?
I think honestly, it's the same thing because the calls can come in for quarantines versus a call for a dog running loose. So I give as much time to both. When I'm on shift for both. So yeah, so it's both pretty much equally for me.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for all that you do, Leslie.
Thank you.
All right. Do any members of the public have any questions or comments about this agenda item? All right. Well, Leslie, either our vote tonight is going to be a nomination or a strong endorsement for the Board of Health. But either way, I think you're looking good with this motion.
Great.
With that, I would take a motion from one of my colleagues.
I'll make a motion to nominate Leslie Badger as the Inspector of Animals for the Town of Hingham, effective May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024.
Second.
All those in favor, Liz,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, and motion carries. And Leslie, have a great evening. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, you as well. Bye.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the application for a restaurant common victualler license, victualler wine and malt beverages license by the Patriot Cinemas, 25 Shipyard Drive in Hingham, Massachusetts. We have joining us this evening to make this presentation are attorneys Teresa Barbadoro Caponati, David Scott, Catherine Santora, who is the proposed manager. All right, so I see that we are joined this evening by those individuals that I just named. So let me turn it over to, I'm assuming it's going to be counsel for the applicant to give us a presentation on what you're asking us to do this evening.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm attorney Teresa Barbadoro Caponati, representing Patriot Cinemas. I have here with me David Scott, who's the owner of Patriot Cinemas, and Kathy Santora, who's the manager of the cinemas and would be the proposed manager under the ABCC license here. As you all know, the cinema has 6 screens in the Shipyard, and what they are asking for is a beer and wine license to be able to sell beer and wine at the movie theater. As many local theaters have started doing over the last couple years. We're looking for a license under Chapter 77 of the Acts of 2004, of which we understand there is a license available in the town. The proposal is for beer and wine to be sold between noon and 11 at the theater. If you have a packet, if you have the application, there is a location of where the concession would be in here. And there's just one area where they're going to have a separate locked glass door refrigerator that would contain beer and wine. They've identified and going to purchase a point of sale system that would be used for this. That point of sale system, everybody has to scan an ID. Regardless of age, so it's not a judgment call. Every ID has to be scanned in, and it keeps track of who's purchasing. They would have a maximum of 2 drinks per ID that can be purchased, and that's logged into the system. And so that's how they're going to be able to keep track of it. Kathy has already completed the TIP certification, and I think we can close that as well. And if this license is granted, the other two managers, who are the only other two people who would be able to serve alcohol, would also complete the tip certification process as well. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. Like I said, it's kind of just looking to offer that as a convenience to moviegoers, as several of the other theaters in the region have started to do. And we're happy to sort of take any questions that you might have about it.
All right, Council, well, thank you very much. Yeah, you answered a lot of my questions in the application as well. I was curious about the tip certification of who would be serving it, but you answered that for me. It'd be the managers. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, so you're not going to have like draft beer. It's going to be just canned beer that you'd be selling out of a secured container or secured refrigerator.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. I know that a lot of movie theaters are going in this route, and I'm inclined to support it. Is there going to be a time limit on the service? For example, I know I've been to the movie theater where movies sometimes run late into the evening, running, sometimes movies don't end until after midnight. When would you stop your service, or when would you announce that you will not be serving any more alcohol?
Well, typically our concession stand closes about 15 to 20 minutes after the last movie starts. And currently that's about 9:15. So it's 9:30, 9:45, the concession stand will be shut down.
Okay, 9:30, 9:45. Okay,
Depending on the last show. In the summertime, we run a little bit later. So we'll be closer to probably 10:15 even.
Sounds good. All right, and is there going to be a limit on how much someone can buy? I hear you say 2 drinks per patron, or
Drinks
did I hear
per
that?
ID, exactly.
Right.
So we thought of, as we were talking about it, we had said that, you don't want 2 drinks is the maximum per ID. That way, someone can bring one to their spouse or whoever they're with. So 2 at a time maximum.
So just 2,
Okay.
period.
That's it.
2 period. Understood.
Yep.
And lastly, Tom, this might be for you. My understanding is this type of license they're applying for, these are reviewed and renewed annually by this board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, those are all my questions. Let me turn to Liz and see if she has any questions.
Thanks, Bill. I reviewed the application. It does look complete. I see the tip certification, and I believe there was a Corey check done as well. Has Chief Jones, I'm assuming he's reviewed this as well?
He has. He's been over this and has no problems. Yeah.
Okay, great. I am familiar with this concept. I've seen it work well. Obviously, we have lots of kids going to movies in the shipyard, so that's something we want to be conscious of. But I understand that the ID scanning is pretty secure, so I feel comfortable with that. And it looks like abutters have been notified.
Yes. Yeah, we have all butters have been notified. We have, I spoke with Sharon about this yesterday. I wanted to give one more day for all of our green forms to come back, which they have. So I'm dropping these off. Well, actually, I think David's going to drop them off tomorrow to go with the ABCC package that would get sent out to them. But yeah.
Okay, great. Tom, have you heard any concerns or received any feedback at the office?
I think we might have someone wants to speak to it, but we haven't heard anything here
Okay.
to my knowledge. Sharon didn't bring anything to my attention.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
And Ms. Stiles, I do see your hand up. I'm going to call on you after I go to Mr. Fisher. Okay, so I'll call on you in a second. All right, Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
So comment, I've seen a wide range of theaters in Massachusetts offering it. And from what I have been able to learn, movie theaters are at least as capable as restaurants in being able to meet the statutory requirements and serving beer and wine. So I think it's a positive move. I noted in the application there's a reference to the lease, saying that there was a copy of a lease of the portion of the lease that addressed this. I did not see that in the document packet. If it's there, can someone point that out to me?
Sure. The lease itself, it was not in the document packet you received?
Right, so now there's a reference saying, I think it's referring to the application packet includes the lease with Samuels and Associates beginning on page 31 and a floor plan. I just didn't see that as part of what at least I received. Maybe Art, Tom, or Michelle, you can
So-
point it out to me.
We're working on, Joe, hold on a second.
Sure.
Chairman?
I'm not sure if I have the exact same copy that you have that was submitted, because I'm not sure how Sharon put it together, so.
Yep. Um, So our PDF has 32 pages. I don't know if you got something that's more complete. And so, I mean, assuming that someone looks at it, I just want to make sure that what's being proposed is consistent with the leasing arrangement at the shipyard.
Just so I understand, so is your question about whether the landlord understands, so there's an amendment specific with the landlord that specifically contemplates that this is what we were gonna ask for, was getting this license.
Right.
And so the landlord's fully aware and on board with this and understands.
Yeah, I mean, so part of the application process is, we want to make sure you actually have the authority to do this, which
Yep.
would be in the lease. And again, I just didn't see that. Tom or Michelle, do you see that in the packet?
We don't. I was just trying to speak to Coughlin. No, I don't see it in here.
I can email it over to you guys if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that this has been reviewed and that it's there, but it'd be helpful if the packet was complete in that regard.
Yeah,
Other than that, as I said, from what I've seen, I think this is a move that movie theaters have been doing across the state. And as I said, they seem to be, theaters are at least as capable as restaurants in meeting the requirements of the statute. So I've got no other questions.
All right, Joe, thank you. I do see a question or a comment from a resident. Ms. Stiles, so we're going to call on you. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please. And we will unmute you on our end. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ruth Ann Stiles. My husband and I are abutters. We live at 23 Shipyard Drive, the moorings. We love living here, and one of the things we really love is all the family-friendly activities, and the movie theater is a great place for that. So one of my questions is, if I were a parent and I dropped off teenagers, how would I know that someone would check inside of the actual movie theater to make sure that people weren't sharing drinks that other people may have purchased legally?
So that's an excellent question. I thought of that myself because those theaters are pretty dark. So let me turn to the manager or to council. If you could answer that question from the Stiles, it'd be appreciated.
We do go through the theaters quite a bit, checking. In fact, we actually get some complaints that we check too often. Since mostly adults will be purchasing the drinks, it would behoove us not to be checking them and just making sure that no underage kids are drinking. We can do the best we can do, and that's patrol the theaters.
So it feels like that puts an extra burden on the movie theater to have to now sort of enforce and monitor each movie area, and they have multiple screens. So that'd be a big job, I think.
We have to do that with kids anyway. We're very attuned to doing that all the time, especially Friday nights where the kids haven't seen each other for 2 minutes.
Also bringing in food.
So we definitely are on top of that, and we definitely will be checking. And
Is there a separate seating area for people that have alcohol?
No. And we're all going to be learning at the same time. This will be my first theater with alcohol. I've certainly been to many theaters with alcohol, and it just doesn't seem to be a problem. But I am very aware of what you're saying, and I'm going to be the first person to be on top of that, because I don't want a parent coming to me and saying, my kid was drinking alcohol at the Patriot Cinemas. So I'm on it, and my staff will be on it.
Well, good luck. That's a hard job. Not easy.
If I could follow up with Ruth
Yeah,
Ann,
go ahead. I was going to, go ahead, Joe.
it is, Bill made the point earlier that this is a one-year license. And quite frankly, if there are issues, concerns, complaints that are brought to the attention of this board, we would certainly be prepared to act. And that's all the more reason that I think the movie theater will be vigilant to make sure there are no such issues. But that is something that if it does occur, we would certainly, if it's brought to our attention, we would be taking note of. I also just wanted to make it clear, and I should have asked before, I assume that the theater is prohibiting people from bringing in alcohol. They just, if it's going to be there, it's going to have to be purchased there.
Absolutely.
Of course.
No outside food or drink is allowed in a movie theater.
Great, thank you.
Do they have the assistance of the Hingham Police?
Yeah, that's a good question, Ms. Stiles. I was going to answer that too. Joe, thanks for saying that. So if there is an issue that is brought to the attention of the police department, that will be made known to us. So let's say that there was an issue or several issues regarding the theater's ability to regulate and enforce the consumption of alcohol. I can tell you that the police chief will notify the town administrator, will notify us. And if the issue is not corrected, when we review this application for a license next year, we would take that into consideration regarding our decision about renewing it. I don't want to say we are the alcohol commissioners for the municipality, but we do serve a role in the sense that we do issue these licenses. And when we do issue them every year, we do have reports by the police department, particularly the police chief. And if an individual who's distributing alcohol has a problem, it's brought to our attention, and we will address that as much as we can.
Thank you very much. We wish you great success. We want the movie theater to do really well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Stiles. Thank you, sir, as well. All right, is there anybody else, any other members of the public who have any questions or comments about this agenda item? All right, and Joe, I know you had a concern about the agreement. Are you comfortable proceeding tonight?
Yeah, I think, Tom, am I correct that at least in the application review process that was considered?
It was part of the packet the documents received by Sharon. For whatever reason, they just didn't get into the packet delivered to you guys and put in our folders.
Okay, so
I'll confirm with Sharon that we have it. And then if for some reason we don't, we'll reach out to Mrs. Copenati and try to.
yeah, I mean, it's clearly something that's flagged in the application as an important factor. So my belief is that it was reviewed, and if it turns out it wasn't, Tom, I'm sure you'll address it promptly.
Yeah, absolutely will. Yes.
If it's helpful, Mr. Fisher, I'm happy to email it over to you all tonight too.
Sure, going to Tom Mayo would be the appropriate person to send it. That'd be great.
Sure, if you just want to give me the email address when we.
So do you have it from all your communications with Sharon in my office?
I have Sharon's email address.
Yeah, send it to her.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll just resend both, at least in the amendment that specifically acknowledges that we are seeking a beer and wine license and that the landlord's okay with it. So I'll send both of them over to you tonight, just so you have them.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. With that, then I would take a motion.
So I move to approve the application for a restaurant common victualler wine and malt beverages license by the Patriot Cinemas, Inc., 25 Shipyard Drive, Hingham, Catherine Santora, manager, filed with the town of Hingham on March 2nd, 2023, with the following operating hours: Sunday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. This approval is subject to the submission of a valid certificate of insurance evidencing liquor legal liability insurance coverage in at least the minimum statutory amounts and the approval of the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Second.
All those in favor, Joe,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
I'm as well, the motion carries. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Well,
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the request of the Friends of the Hingham Cemetery Incorporated for a special one-day wine and malt beverages license for a talk and art show by Sarah Holbrook to be held at Ames Chapel on Thursday, April 6th, 2023, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And we have, this is the first of two agenda items that John Davenport's going to help us out with this evening. So, John, good to see you this evening. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
If you could just state your name and address for the record and tell us about your request this evening.
Yes, my name is John Davenport. I'm the president of the Friends of Hingham Cemetery and the Cemetery Corporation, 63 Burdett Avenue in Hingham. And these two events are in the same format as all the other ones that we've had for the last 2 or 3 years. There will beer and wine for half an hour before the actual event, and there's an intermission in one of them, which is probably 15 minutes. So, and they have to come down to the basement, the cellar. It's finished, but that's where it's served. It's not served during the event or on the first floor in the main hall where the events take place. And we've got 2 tips, as the application says. We have the 2 tips trained bartenders will be tending the bar for beer and wine. And as I said, this will, when we first started, both the police department and the fire department came through and raised some questions which were satisfactorily answered, and nothing has changed since then.
John, thank you very much. Tom, any concerns expressed by the police department about either of these events?
No, the chief signed off on both of them and all's in order.
Excellent. All right. Okay. I know that we commonly see these events at the chapel. I'm not aware of any problems. In fact, I live pretty close to the chapel, and I don't even hear any noise over there. So you guys do a good job with your programs, John, which is great. So let me see if anybody has any questions or comments. Liz?
Yes, thanks, Bill. Just one question, John. Will Will Fisher and Richard Hawk be serving at both events, or is it one each?
No, they'll both be there
Okay.
at both events.
Okay, great. Excellent. No other questions. I know these events have run really smoothly in the past, so thank you.
Joe, any questions?
No, I'm familiar. I work very close to where this is, and I think it's really managed quite well. I really do have no concerns. I do note that there is no rain date associated with these, and I'm assuming that that's fine because these are intended to be indoor events in the chapel. Is that correct?
That's correct. There will be indoor events, and if there were, obviously, there's not going to be a snowstorm, but we aren't able to have the people who are performing won't necessarily have a rain date that we've never been able to provide one. We've never had to. None of them have had to be canceled.
Great. No, I've got no questions. Good luck on this.
Okay, any members of the public have any questions or comments about this agenda item? All right, not seeing any. I would take a motion. Let's take one at a time.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of Friends of Hingham Cemetery Incorporated for a special one-day wine and malt beverages license for a talk and art show by Sarah Holbrook to be held at Ames Chapel on Thursday, April 6, 2023, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor, Liz,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. The motion carries. And I would take a second motion.
I move to approve the request of Friends of Hingham Cemetery, Inc. for a special one-day wine and malt beverages license for an evening of folk music and folk rock to be held at Ames Chapel on Saturday, April 29th, 2023, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor, Joe,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. The motion carries. All right, John, good to see you. Have a great event.
All right, thank you. There's, the next item is not us. The numbers, it says the Friends of Hingham Cemetery, but that is not anything that we're doing. The next item on the agenda, number 7, that
Oh.
Sharon sent me.
Hold
Oh,
on.
so the library, I believe.
That's from the
That's the
library.
library.
Yep.
That's
I
not
think-
us.
no. You had two. Yeah, you had two. Yeah, I want to be clear. We probably shouldn't jump around. We voted on your request for the Sarah Holbrook event on April 6, 2023. And also a motion was taken to approve the
April.
event on April 29, 2023, from 7
Right.
p.m. to 10 p.m. Those are both your events, correct?
Right, yes, that's all I need.
So you are officially free to go then.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're discharged. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks, John. Take care. And I see our next individual up for the coming up event. So let's just briefly note that next we're going to consider approval of the request of the Board of Trustees of the Hingham Public Library for a special one-day wine and malt beverage license for Beyond the Books to be held at the Hingham Public Library on Friday, April 28, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have with us the chair of the Board of Library Trustees, David Mahegan. Well, David, good evening. If you could just state your name and position for the record, that'd be great. We're going to unmute you right now. Stand by.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chair. David Mahegan, 13 Whiting Lane, Chair of the Board of the Hingham Board of Trustees of the Hingham Public Library. Although I'm not sure we can compare to the cemetery friends in terms of our ability to put on a party, this event is actually being sponsored by the Board of Trustees. It is our annual fund, which we hope to be our annual fundraiser. An evening at the library, entirely inside the library, to raise funds for the core mission of the library, which is collections, programs, services, and classes. And as you know, it's one of the many things we do to raise funds. And our view is that every dollar we raise is a dollar that we do not ask of the taxpayers. And it goes entirely to the core mission of the library, not to anything other than what the great things that libraries do. So that's what this event is all about.
David, thank you very much. I know that you had this event last year. It was very successful, and I know it's very important to the board in terms of outside fundraising. So I think it's wonderful that you're all doing it again. I'm looking forward to attending it, and I would just encourage residents who really appreciate our library to make efforts to attend it if possible. So I don't really have any questions being familiar with the event, but let me see if my colleagues do. So let me see if Joe has any questions first.
So David, I am also familiar with the event, and I've actually been talking to one of the other trustees, Mona Paul, who I think has been actively involved in preparing, and it sounds like it's going to be an exciting, well-organized event. And I really have no questions other than offering my support for a wonderful occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
If there's any
Excellent.
questions or comments?
Thanks, Bill. No questions. I know this event has gone smoothly and successfully in the past, so thrilled to see that it's back. I know how important fundraising for the library is. I'm sure parking is a little tight, but I did see that a police detail has been requested, so thank you for doing that.
That is correct.
Great.
Bill, I had one question. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Tom. I'm going to ask just David one question real quick. I'll go to you. Yeah, I wasn't able to attend last year. I know it was a very successful event. Do you know how many people attended last year, out of curiosity?
You would ask that question. I forget how many it was exactly, but I think the limit is 200 in the building this year. I mean, I know that's the limit in terms of tickets being sold. It'd be about 200.
Outstanding. Great. Well, hopefully we get all 200. Tom, go ahead.
Never mind. Cleared up. I'm good.
Okay.
I would just know that,
Better
as I
eyes
said,
than mine caught something that I missed. I'm good.
Excellent.
I would just note that the application was duly filed, I believe, signed by the police chief, and the tip certifications have all been provided. We had a police detail last year for some reason, for some kind of a glitch or a competing event. The police detail did not appear. There was no problem. So although the parking at the library tends to be tight, this is not going to be any bigger this year, I didn't think, and we expect that it won't be a concern.
David, thank you. Just let me see if anybody's on the phone here, if anybody has any questions or comments about this agenda item. I've not seen any. I would take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of the Board of Trustees of the Hingham Public Library for a special one-day wine and malt beverages license for Beyond the Books to be held at the Hingham Public Library on Friday, April 28, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor, Liz,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all for your support.
Good seeing you, David.
Good
All right.
night, all.
Next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the agreement with the Cape and Island Corporation for the reconstruction of the Cronin Field Street Hockey Court. We have with us Kathy Riley, who's going to talk us through this presentation this evening. So Kathy, good evening. Oh, we're going to meet you in a second here.
Sorry, good evening. A while back, we brought a contract for an engineer to draw up the specifications for both the street hockey court as well as the tennis courts for the high school. At the time, we are planning, just like for this construction contract, we bid them together. Even though the school committee approved their part of the contract last night for the 6 tennis courts at the high school, this particular contract that you're approving, that you're considering, is only for the street hockey court, and that is funded from CPC funds, I believe, from the last town meeting. Anyway, the school's portion was $867,487. So that's their contract, and ours is $286,625. We had 2 bidders. The low bidder was significantly lower, so they were very happy with the price.
Kathy, thank you. I think I was on the rec commission when they actually put those courts in many years ago. Probably goes back to 97, 98. Those courts have not been redone in a long time, and certainly needed. I know that I always see, kids playing out there, playing street hockey. They get a lot of use. The basketball court does as well. I think that's going to be addressed next year. But yeah, it's definitely something needed. It's an athletic area in town that gets a lot of use, and it's very popular with young children playing hockey. So that's great. So Kathy, thank you. Liz, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Kathy. So were the tennis courts and the street hockey court was bid together?
They were bid together.
Okay.
Yeah, and for cost savings, because it's the same material.
Okay.
The same process that they build those courts is. I'm trying to remember, it's tension concrete or something.
Yes.
Right.
I remember Mark explaining that.
Right, a particular approach to it. And so, yes, so we're going to be coordinating. They won't be done at the same time. I know the tennis courts, are, use dependent for the teens and that sort of thing. So they are planning to work that schedule around. And I believe that one, they maybe next spring, they wanted to have the high school wanted to have it done. I don't quote me for sure on the schedule. Mark has more details on that, but yeah. So the contract goes until May 24.
Yeah, that's what
And
it
so
said. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll
Okay,
just-
so will they start on the street hockey court soon, or do you know that timeline?
I don't. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, and it looked like it was under budget,
It was under budget.
so that's good news.
Yeah. Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah, and they were happy with this vendor too. They were familiar with them and they know they do good work.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Liz, thank you. Joe, any questions?
Yeah, just to clarify, when Liz says under budget, so I understand CPC appropriated over 289,000 and our contract is for 286. So is that delta, is that what we mean by under budget?
That's what I meant, yes.
Yes, and when we're under budget like this, do those funds get returned to CPC? How does that work, since it was appropriated by CPC at the 289 amount?
I think they'll probably wait to see that there aren't any change orders or things like that during the construction. And then I'll defer to Michelle and Tom.
Yeah, Kathy's right. They'll wait to make sure that the project is completed. There's no additional costs. And then at some point they would be returned to the CPC general fund for future appropriation for other CPC projects.
Yep. That's great. I mean, I've looked at the contract, I've looked at the presentation, and I am satisfied we should move forward.
Joe, thank you. Do any members of the public have any questions or comments about this agenda item? I'd seen none. I would take a motion.
I move to authorize the town administrator to sign the agreement with the Cape and Island Corporation for the reconstruction of the Cronin Field Street Hockey Court in an amount not to exceed $286,625.
Second,
All those in favor, Joe,
Aye.
Liz,
aye.
and I'm an aye as well. The motion carries. Kathy, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Next item on the agenda is to proclaim April 2nd, 2023 as Education and Sharing Day in the town of Hingham. We have a proclamation we're going to read this evening. And Joe, I was going to ask you to do the honors reading the proclamation if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a proclamation that we issued last year. Actually reviewing it with Sharon, she noticed, because this is done in commemoration of the birthday of a particular rabbi, and she noticed that last year the date was on a different day in April than it is this year. And I explained because when they are marking the birthday for the rabbi, they do it on the Jewish calendar, which is a lunar calendar rather than a solar. So the date in April will change from year to year, although it's consistent in the Jewish calendar. So that was the distinction between last year and this year in terms of the date. But I would be pleased to read the proclamation. Whereas Hingham is a community that is committed to excellence in education, recognizing that a quality education is one of the significant foundations for the continuing success of our state, our country, and our society at large. And whereas Hingham recognizes the important contributions of its teachers, paraprofessionals, school administrators, and staff in assuring high-quality education for our children. And whereas April 2nd, 2023 marks what would have been the 121st birthday of Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, a leader who was devoted to educating people worldwide and who demonstrated a profound respect for diversity, inclusiveness, and equal justice. And whereas Rabbi Schneerson recognized the importance of building character and moral values as well as intellect. And whereas in 1978, the United States Congress established his birthday as a national day to raise awareness and to strengthen the education of our children. And whereas beginning with President Jimmy Carter and continuing annually with every president through and including the current presidency of Joe Biden, a federal proclamation has been issued declaring Education and Sharing Day USA and celebrating the work of Rabbi Schneerson as a thinker, leader, and teacher who recognized the limitless potential of every human being, regardless of their background. And whereas we affirm our support for educational and social service institutions that empower our children and inspire persons of all ages. Whereas we call on all residents of Hingham to increase their energy and dedication to the education of our youth. And whereas we call upon government officials, educators, volunteers, and citizens to reach out to those within your communities and work to create a better, brighter, and more hopeful future for all. Now, therefore, we, the Select Board of the Town of Hingham, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2023, Education and Sharing Day in Hingham. Voted this 28th day of March, 2023, William C. Ramsey, Chair, Elizabeth F. Klein, and Joseph M. Fisher for the Select Board.
And I would second that motion. All those in favor, Joe,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. The motion carries unanimously. Joe, thank you for reading the proclamation and for honoring a very important day. All right, next item on the agenda is public comment. Do any members of the public have any public comment this evening? Seeing none, I'm sorry, I'm seeing none. I would move to appointments that I skipped over, but I don't believe we have any appointments this evening. Liz, is that correct?
Correct.
Joe?
Correct.
All right, then I would move next to Town Administrator Select Board reports. So let me turn first this evening to Michelle.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. Art.
Yeah, just one item, if I may. This coming Thursday, the 30th of March, will be our first public information session in preparation for town meeting. Start time is 7 p.m. Location is Sanborn Auditorium here in Town Hall. And we look forward to meeting with members of the community to discuss the proposed override.
All right, thank you very much. Art, just that's going to be televised by HCAM as well as live in person, correct?
It will be recorded and made available by Harbor Media.
Great.
Not live broadcast.
Thanks very much. Tom, anything this evening?
Just one thing real quick. You'll note when we were talking about the rebuilding of the hockey rink that Mark Thorell was not with us. The reason Mr. Thorell was not here was because he is at an award ceremony put on by the Massachusetts Parks and Recs Department, where he is receiving a Community Impact Award, which is an award given, it's a statewide award given by his peers as the Recs Director who has made the biggest impact to his community. So Mark does a great job here. I think you all know that. So we're proud of him and happy that he's on the team.
That's great.
Yeah, great news.
It was great. Yeah, Mark is a wonderful, wonderful recreation director, that's for sure. Joe, anything this evening?
I just wanted to follow up on what Art was saying about the meeting this coming Thursday. We had one last week at Linden Ponds. I think it was very successful. The presentation that was led by our town administrator, Tom Mayo, I thought was excellent. School committee representatives were there as well as myself, and looking forward to this coming Thursday. Thank you.
Liz, anything to add tonight?
I'm also looking forward to Thursday's information session, and just to note that a few people have used the override email address, and we are responding to those. I also was asked by a resident this week about the MOU and if that will be posted on the override website. And it is in fact there. So if people want to review that financial management plan that has been signed by the Select Board, School Committee, and Advisory Committee, that is up on the website as well.
Liz, thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow night is Pizza Palooza. It's an event that we haven't had in about 4 or 5 years in town, given the pandemic. And it's at the high school. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock. It's a very important fundraiser for South Shore SNAP, which is the Special Needs Athletic Program. For those who aren't familiar with SNAP, it's just a wonderful organization run primarily by Hingham residents who do a ton for our community, but they're also involved with SNAP. So anybody who can make it tomorrow night, if you like good pizza, everybody who makes pizza in town and in the area actually donates the pizza. It's a great event. I love going to it. I'm glad it's back. My kids love it. I'm not going to eat now for the next 48 hours. So, anyway. All right. With that, I look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday night at our information session, and I would make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All those in favor, Joe?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.
You too. Thank you.